We're on the Jacobson Stand. I'm joined by Simon. Simon, nice to meet you. It's been a busy day. You've just had a graduation ceremony going on here, haven't you?
We have indeed, yeah. This is the class of 2023 FTMI, Future Turf Managers Initiative, sponsored by Bigger.
And now that's over. We've got the stand to ourselves. It's still quite busy. The strategy for Jacobson around electrification, it's a bit more than just electrifying vehicles now, isn't it?
It is indeed, and really electrified vehicles are a component of really a journey that sees us migrating the technology that's existed for some time now in our sister companies, be it E-Z-Go or Cushman, really in the form of EV solutions. Taking that same DNA, as we would refer to it as, translating that into equipments of work, so for us specifically mowing equipment, and using that initiative to really push forward on, really growing our sustainability commitments. We are custodians at the end of the day of a very rich environment that's under an awful lot of pressure to improve its green credentials. But our job is not just meeting those green credentials. These are not equipment of fun, these are equipment of work. And ultimately they've got to perform equally, if not better than, the combustion products that we're looking to displace. So the technology that's been founded now over hundreds of thousands of vehicles, millions of hours of use, we have the confidence now to make that available to the network of customers via an electrified solution, with that promise that it will deliver, if not better, than its combustion products. And of course, tied into that, as we make that migration in technology, the whole principle of connected devices that we're used to in our everyday lives, whether it's our Samsung iPhone, our iPhones, or our mobile phones, if you want to use generic branding. The connectivity that we're able to bring through PACE technology, which is another component of the business, really allows us to look at not just how the assets are deployed, but also how they're used. So we can help the courses understand how to make the most significant impact on minimising the type of work that these do and where they're being asked to go. Okay. And really transferring that technology back to the shed, it now moves away from being a storage location to really a nerve centre where these assets are able to be managed, measured, and then actually deployed in a way that is most impactful in reducing really their overall footprint.
So that connected device, does it sit on the back of an app or something? Or?
Yeah, it does. So PACE Technology is a TSV brand, a Textron brand, that really is looking at this from an asset management standpoint, but actually extends significantly beyond that. So it's a proprietary system that we own that is being enjoyed today by both Cushman and E-Z-Go customers, many of whom also purchase Jacobson equipment. Sure. And they now have access to that platform. But it's an evolving product, and as we understand more about what connectivity means on the turf platform, we're able to increase that scope. So right now today, we've got partners around the world that are able to look at what their mowers are doing. That's interesting to a point, but it's really how they're being used that's of significance to those guys. And if you think about the considerations in terms of how you prep a facility to migrate from combustion to electrification, one of the considerations, of course, is what's the power demands that I might need to provide to my facility. It's a big upfront investment, and of course, the range anxiety that's associated often with electrified products. We're able to work with those partners to actually map what their combustion products do today and overlay that with how exactly their electrified equipment would actually be used. And then we can minimize, of course, the size of the cabling that runs, opportunity charging systems, etc. become available, all as part of that interconnectivity with those PACE technology items.
When you look at the range now, electrification has been the buzz for the last few years.
Yeah.
Is it going to be all electric, or is it going to be horses for courses?
Well, I think it's a fair question, and I think it's fair to say we're still in the early adopter phase of the technology. Much of the anxiety that we see consumers are raising with regards to their transition from their combustion vehicles on highway to electrified vehicles, we've gone a long way in terms of satisfying that. So, of course, the easier problem to solve is in the lower horsepower ranges. Yep. The ability for these machines to carry sufficient energy density is a challenge that the manufacturers have to overcome. Where you place that energy, precision machines that have got a job of work to do. How we place that mass on the vehicles to have minimal impact on the turf is a key consideration. But we're already now in a situation where greens mowing has been available to us now, both in terms of the walking community and the ride-on community for some time. We've since taken that same technology recently and migrated that to the first all-electric fairway machine. As you approach the higher horsepower ranges, of course that challenge in terms of managing energy density becomes one of two factors, one of which is of course cost, but secondly is the sheer weight of the vehicles at that point. So right now, as battery technology continues to evolve, and it's evolving rapidly, I think it's fair to say that those higher horsepower conundrums will be overcome pretty quickly, and it's certainly our view that it is an entire possibility for us to eliminate combustion from a golf course and provide an all-electrified solution for anyone with any budgetary means.
The power is one element of sustainability and climate control, etc., climate change, should I say, and issues and impacts on that. What about the production and the raw materials and the whole kind of lifetime cost to sustainability for your products?
I think it's a great question, and there's no doubt that raises an interesting debate. The reality is, when you look at our cost calculators, these things have to be competitive. People are making commercial buying decisions every day, and we can't outprice these things to the point of unaffordability. We're certainly seeing price is less of a barrier in the early stages of adoptions to what it may be when the mass market moves to adopt the technology. But right now, as it stands, I think energy security is a key topic. Where those combustion products will find their fuel in the future remains a challenge. Right now, for us today, the simplicity of you return these things to the shed at the end of the day, you pull a plug out and you plug it into a hole in the wall somehow, and this thing's ready to go the next day, for us is a major advantage.
And in terms of the working life of electric machines versus traditional combustion machines, is there a difference?
So I think a prerequisite to this, remember, these are not jobs of fun that are being participated in here. These are jobs of work. These things have to have a second life. So the manufacturers, us specifically, have been very careful in terms of who we partner with. Samsung SDI are the powerhouse behind our electrified solutions. We've had a long established partnership with that company. They're at the forefront of battery technology, and as a consequence of that, these things absolutely have to have a second life, and will have a second life beyond that typical 5-year replenishment cycle.
So that's a used market that you think will become a bigger impact in terms of the industry and where machines are going. But what about recycling and when that reaches the end of a second life, should we call it, or a third life?
I think it's a great question, and I think if we refer specifically to what we're seeing on the golf buggies, where we have the biggest deployment of the technology, and I should say that the turf equipment is just really a sum of those same products that we have in those E-Z-Go facilities. So, these things, for example, have 5 of the same packs that exist in an E-Z-Go. This one behind has 10 of those same packs. And what we see, certainly at the end of that 5-year fleet life on a golf buggy, those products are then being made available to the consumer segment and will enjoy a life certainly beyond those 5 years. Okay, so just introducing you to the Eclipse 122 in this instance, which is the single pack solution to the walking greens mower. I think it's important to say we started with the greens as far as the journey to electrification for 2 reasons. One of which, the energy density, the power requirements by consumption is the least impactful in terms of the golf course. But of course, in terms of the significance of greens mowing, this is probably the most important position for any manufacturer to focus on. It's where the greenkeeper really earns his keep. The technology that came out of the E-Z-Go units, a single pack Samsung SDI power plant, which really then migrated onto the triple that you see behind you here in the forms of the Eclipse 360. Again, carrying exactly the same power plant, the Samsung SDI power solution, multiplied in this instance 5 packs, or generating 250 amp hours of energy on board. But in the preferred configuration for greens mowing in around the world, really, the migration from walkers to triples has been significant and has continued over the last many years. So in this instance, a 3-unit configuration, the operator riding the mower as opposed to walking behind. Moving from greens mowing, of course, the next solution really for us was to look at how we achieve the same sort of scenario but on a larger scale, fairways, higher acreages, requiring bigger mowers requiring higher energy density, but exactly the same solution that I've mentioned in the EasyGo solution, flowing through now into greens mowing, flowing through now into fairway mowing. So in this instance, 10 of those battery packs carrying 500 amp hours of energy in a 5-gang configuration capable of cutting fairways across a full day's worth of work. 8-hour days, overnight charging, the equipment ready to go for the operator the following morning in order to conduct their work. Of course, zero hydraulic oil. A major anxiety for most greenkeepers, certainly on the hydraulic combustion side, is the presence of hydraulic oil, and being able to eliminate hydraulic oil from the golf course in its entirety is a huge plus side, not just from the downtime that's associated it, but with the environmental impact that even the green fluids have on our environmental conscience and of course our presentation of these green spaces. So beyond fairway mowing, as battery manufacturers, as we lean into our relationship with Samsung SDI, I think you can expect the higher horsepower conundrums that right now mean the placement of the high energy density requirements on what is effectively a very small footprint, typically very low ground pressure required on these vehicles, is something that we are confident that we have open to us, and of course linked to connectivity that we enjoy in our everyday lives. Providing a fully sustainable electrified solution is absolutely the ambition for Jacobson, and we believe that we'll be delivering that and indeed are partnered with some pretty great locations around the world in terms of bringing that reality to the masses.
Simon, I think you may need your stand back now because we've taken up a fair amount of time. Fascinating conversation. We look forward to seeing how this one develops because it's going to, isn't it?
Thank you very much. Absolutely, yeah, for sure.